actually. We can start from Dietary, yeah, and then we can talk about religion. So what's going on, guys? We're back with another one. That's us just thinking through things. But this one's inspired by an article I read somewhere about someone said, I'm vegan, so my child is vegan too, automatically. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. Let's talk about it. Let me bring it here. How do we feel about that? So you were just saying, actually, you have experience with this. Your missus vegan.
My wife about a year ago went vegan, and it seemingly to me came out of the blue. But just one day, she had been talking about it for a while, but just one day she decided, she was going to go vegan. And just as a bit of background, my wife's family is South African, right? So in South Africa, I've been there to visit.
They
like my wife told me, they don't trust you if you don't eat meat. So one of my first trips to South Africa, we were out in in the countryside visiting family, and I'm there. I eat chicken and fish now, but for a long time I didn't eat any meat other than fish, clearly, and so when we were there, I wasn't eating anything other than fish and veg. So we're there, and they say, you're vegetarian, but you eat chicken, but you eat beef, right? They would literally say that to you. They don't understand people that don't eat meat. They just don't understand that. But now to see my wife has come around and she's like full vegan. Nowadays, I eat chicken and fish. I think in terms of the kids, we wouldn't force that on them. Like for us, I grew up eating everything, pork, all the rest of it.
Right.
Although I was never a big fan of really anything other than chicken, and it took me a while to even get into fish. Although I love fish now, but yeah, I mean, in terms of my kids, I think. For me, I wouldn't want to impose the way that I eat on them, and neither does my wife. So my wife will make them vegan meals sometimes, and they enjoy it. But likewise, I make them meals with chicken and fish, and I also will make them. I'll go and get them some pork sausage rolls. They like that, or whatever they like, because I think in their childhood we can at least give them the chance to see what they like. Now, as they get older, it's quite possible, I think, that they will. Because my youngest, she's not really into meat anyway. They will figure out for themselves how they want to eat and this and that. But I don't think I should impose that on them. I want to show my kids the colours of life and all the different experiences. And as they get older, they can see what they like, what they don't like, and how they're going to discern and what their diet's going to be like.
That's interesting. I think coming back I think it was an article I read, or maybe another article, there was a scenario where a parent did this. They became vegan or something that they didn't eat. I think it was vegan, and then they imposed that on their children. But then the children at some point developed some kind of nutritional deficiency in something.
I was going to bring that up, actually.
And then it was really interesting. It's like, what to do now? Then all of a sudden, they got to start eating meat now. It's like, okay, so why did you? But it's like, I guess, speaking to some vegans sometimes, and I try the vegan thing, I have my moments actually. There is benefit to it. So some parents might see that the benefit to it is so great that I'm going to, this is just what we do in this house now, type of thing. But I think it'll be also interesting to think about the religious point of view with foods. So my wife is Muslim, so Muslims don't eat pork.
Yeah.
I grew up Christian. I'm technically still Christian now. So I used to eat pork, bacon. I used to love that stuff. It was amazing. But one of the things I gave up when I got with her was pork. I gave up pork because it was like, it's from a religious point of view, so I didn't want to start bringing pork into the house and using the same frying pans, and that's what, but I'm not at the point, if I'm out and I eat something and there's pork in it, it's like, oh my god, it's pork in it, but I wouldn't seek it out, before I'd have bacon cheeseburgers, I don't do that stuff anymore.
Okay, do you miss it?
Sometimes, not miss it, sometimes you walk past a cafe, you smell the bacon, and you might just, I remember those days. But now there's alternative, you got halal bacon and stuff. It's pretty similar. And side note, I always think, these people that make this halal bacon, even if they're Muslim, they must have eaten the original stuff first. Because it tastes similar, bro. I'm like, how do you know what it tastes like?
Wait a minute, halal bacon? So is it actually,
it's made from, it's like turkey.
It's turkey.
It's turkey, but they make it the same way, so it's still kind of salty.
No, that's been in New York for years.
Yeah. So it's the same kind of thing, but it's not made from a pig. It's made from usually turkey or sometimes chicken even, in the way they process it. But one of the things we've also I guess enforced is our kids don't eat pork either.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I mean, it is what it is. They don't miss it. I mean, they've never had it, so they don't miss it. And especially because there are alternatives, that it's just like, okay, we just, we have turkey bacon. But I don't know. I mean, I'm happy running with it like that because, like I say, for myself, I gave up pork anyway. And for the religious element of it, it's almost like a disrespect for me to start to bring pork into the house or whatever. So we've kind of just gone that way.
I mean, to be honest, for us, the only reason my kids eat pork now is because when they were born, my wife was still eating meat, and she would make them pork. Like, if it was down to me, I think a pig is a filthy animal.
There's
like,
all that
to be honest, I wouldn't have my kids eating pork, to be honest. But they used to have bacon when they were little. My wife used to love that and make it with them, and make it for them. And they love the bacon. They love a sausage roll. And this and that. So at this point, I'm just kind of like, you know what? They're kids. Let them be kids. Let them enjoy it. But if it was up to me, they would have never tasted pork. I agree with that because I do think a pig is a filthy animal. That's the reason when I think I was about 19. I went vegan initially.
Okay.
I used to make the soya chunks, and this was back in the day. Like these days, vegan food. You see it, you smell it, it looks good, it smells good. I can actually envision myself eating it, but back in the day, I'm talking 15, 20 years ago, if you were vegan, you used to get, it looked like dog food, these bags of soya chunks, and it was like hard rock soya chunks, and you'd boil it and then it would soften up, and I'd be making my meals with that and all that. And when I met my wife, it was only then that I was like, you know what, I got to start bringing something else in because it was just becoming too much of a faff. Always making separate meals and this and that. Nowadays, it's not as big of an issue, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have had pork in the house if it was for me.